So, true story. I actually started the stream around 7:40, and I was streaming for 20 minutes before I realized that I wasn't streaming to anything. I had not toggled my stream to YouTube on at all, so I was just talking, just rambling on, and I realized, oh snap, I'm not even streaming to anywhere. I'm just talking to myself basically. So, hopefully, no, again, we'll try this one more time. So hopefully you guys are doing well. Hopefully you guys have had a good week and a good weekend. We're coming to a close of the weekend and driving on in April here. So full week of April, we're getting ready to start on. Hope you guys are staying safe and all that good stuff. Doing what you got to do. I just got vaccinated for my first vaccination actually on Friday. So looking forward to my second one in a few weeks. Wherever you fall on the issue of vaccination, just do, at the very least, do what you can do or do what you need to do in order to keep you and yours safe, and make good decisions. Make good decisions for everybody. So with that being said, the subject of this stream is going to be really the quality of life skills that I have learned or gained from being in the Army. This question actually comes from trying to pull up the person's name now. So a few days ago, someone commented on my pros and cons of my 4 years in the Army National Guard, and the comment was, "What skills and everyday quality of life knowledge have you learned in the Army National Guard that everyday citizens could or should apply to everyday life and interactions? Things like food prep time management, problem solving, planning, dealing with people, must have tools or equipment worth having on hand at home." So stuff like that. So I think I'm just going to address, just kind of address that. Hopefully, some people will jump on the stream with me and drop some comments, and then we can go from there. So, for those who don't know, I joined the Army National Guard at 34. So I was a late bloomer as far as that's concerned. Normally at 34 in the military, you are looking really at retirement or a possibility of retirement in about 4 years. So a lot of times you'll see people retiring between like 30 and 40, maybe 42. But 34, you're typically pretty far into your Army career. So I was a late bloomer. I joined at 34. But even having joined that late, and pretty much being a grown man when I joined, there's still some things that I learned that I keep with me and still use to this very day. I'm currently an Army reservist. So I actually transitioned from the Army National Guard last year over to the Army Reserves, for a few reasons, and I've made some videos to kind of talk about those reasons. But going through the Army has really given me a different perspective on some things, and so I'm just going to talk about that. So one of the things I want to talk about really is this idea of determination. So when I joined the Army, it's not that not that I didn't have determination already, but the Army kind of gave me a different level of determination and confidence to get things done. So when you're going through basic training, the main reason basic training exists is to transition civilians from a civilian mindset over to a military mindset. So for the Army, over to the Army mindset. The way that they do that in basic training is by putting you in stressful and uncomfortable situations that really force you into adopting a new language, really a new tempo, so new speed, having speed to do things. It really puts you in a situation where you have to adopt a different type of mindset in order to be successful, especially if you want to excel. I mean, you can probably make it through by doing the bare minimum, but if you really want to, if you're the type of person that likes to excel in things, then you want to excel in basic training, and it's going in order to excel, it's going to require you to do some shifting in your own personal thoughts or own personal perspective. So for me, I think it really started that first week where we arrived at basic training. I had three drill sergeants in my platoon. The first drill sergeant was really the head drill sergeant, so she didn't spend a lot of time with us individually because she was doing a lot of planning and stuff like that. But the other two were with us constantly, and they were very tough. They're like old school drill sergeants who really took a lot of pleasure into smoking and borderline, kind of borderline. One of them particularly took pride into kind of borderline hurting and breaking soldiers, which is interesting. But in order to get through that, we really, that first week you're just missing your family, you're missing your freedom, the fact that you just can't move and go where you want when you want. You're dealing with getting smoked all the time, so you're just getting a lot of physically you're getting challenged. And the way that me and a lot of the other soldiers there combated that was by adopting this mindset of, okay, you can smoke us forever, how long you want. You can talk to us and call us whatever names you want to call us. We're going to beat you by making it to the end. We're going to be successful in this by making it to the end. So no matter how much you tell us that we're not going to make it, no matter how much you tell us that most of us are going to fall off, we're going to beat you by actually graduating and proving, not just proving you wrong, but proving to us that we can make it through it. And so that was really the initial, I guess, elevation of that mindset for me. And then along the way, you have different tasks that you need to complete and all that kind of good stuff. And it's always a challenge. So I adopted a mindset that challenges weren't painful or challenges weren't barriers, but that challenges were just that. They were opportunities for me to prove, or for me to see what my limits were, for me to prove what type of skills and strength that I had. So in that environment where you really don't have much else to push you forward except for your own determination, and of course, obviously your battles who are in the same situation, the determination, that level of determination, really kind of picked up there. I think that another thing that I really learned to do better during my time in training. And my time in training was long. I was in training for like a year and a half between basic training and AIT. Another thing that I really adopted from the Army was the ability to work as a team. Depending on what your civilian life is like and what your family life is like, many of us really have an easier time just working independently because we don't have to worry about someone else's perspective. We don't have to listen to someone else's opinion. We don't have to rely on someone else doing their job. We don't have to, really don't have to depend on anyone else. We can just everything starts and ends with us. Whereas in the Army, a lot of what you do is team based. So you being successful has to do with someone else doing their job and being successful. And in order to ensure that they're successful, the Army really encourages you to work with that individual, so that way you're able to strengthen their weaknesses, and vice versa, they're able to strengthen your weaknesses. So going through, one of the things from the Army that I've adopted is just being a better teammate, being a better leader, being able to identify maybe individuals on the team that need some additional help, and being able to be that leader to help them there. Being able to have a vision, understanding what the task is, and then being able to get a group of people to accomplish that task. So working as a team and understanding leadership, I would say, are things that I've picked up from the Army. Let me go back to the leadership piece. I think the leadership piece, of all the things that I've picked up from the Army, I think understanding the importance of leadership is probably the biggest thing, because I don't care how talented a person is. I don't care how charismatic a person is. I don't care how knowledgeable a person is. A person who is in a leadership role who is not a good leader will absolutely shipwreck the group that they are leading. Again, I don't care how talented they are. I don't care how knowledgeable they are. I don't care how charismatic they are. If that leader is not a good leader, then that good leader with all of those skills and all those attributes can absolutely shipwreck the group. I've learned and understood the importance of leadership, of good leadership, through the Army, and how it can really be beneficial to the people who are underneath that leadership, or how it can be detrimental to the people who are underneath that leadership. I know plenty of people right now who are getting out of the Army because they've had, just bad leadership after bad leadership. And then conversely, I know people who are remaining in the Army because they've experienced good leadership. And so that's something that it's applicable not just to the Army, but it's applicable really to your everyday life. Excuse me. It's applicable to your everyday life. And it's applicable to your job. It's applicable to your family. It's applicable to everything that you do. If you are in a leadership role, then the people who are submitting to your leadership deserve your best and deserve you putting them in positions to succeed. So starting off with the determination, it's a big thing that I've gotten from the Army. Learning how to really function as a team is another big thing that I've learned from the Army. Understanding the need for good leadership is another thing that I've learned from the Army, because again, that's the key to everything right there. That good leadership is the key to it all. Another question, and the person who put up this question, their name is, I think, Jekek2 or Jekek2, Jekek21 or Jekek21. I'm not really sure how to say that correctly. So another question was, how everyday citizens can use this in everyday life or with interactions. I can say that for me, my interactions with individuals are not different. Like I'm still the same, even kill, low key guy that I've always been. I think the major difference is in, again, kind of that projection of confidence that people may see, the confidence that I have in myself, and no matter what the situation is. Excuse me. I think when you think about with the Army, everything is about time, right? Being on time. I think that's probably another big thing that's really prevalent in my everyday life now. That wasn't so much before I joined the Army. I had a job before I joined the Army where I was habitually late, like all the time. And not even just my job, just going different places, just constantly late all the time. Whereas now, I try everything in my power to be on time, and not just on time. I try everything in my power to be early if I can. So for example, at my church, I do the AV, so audio visual stuff at my church. And our church service, our Sunday school service starts at like 10 o'clock a.m. I try to get there at 8 a.m. because I want to make sure that all systems are go. I want to make sure everything's working properly. I want to make sure everything's formatted right. I want to make sure that whatever happens after 10 o'clock, that my stuff is working well and that it's flowing. So I think the Army has really taught me the importance of time. It's taught me, to that end, it's taught me really the importance of preparedness, being prepared to be successful, right? You don't just want to show up and do something and expect to be successful. No, you want to prepare. So understand what task is, whatever that task is, plan to be successful. Figure out, what do you need in order to be successful? What do you need? What do you need for things to work? Do you need other individuals to make those things work? And then once you plan that out, then you execute it. And after you execute it, you take a step back and say, what was successful here? Whatever was successful, I need to make sure I'm keeping. What was unsuccessful here? Whatever was not successful, I need to make sure I either correct or, if possible, throw it away. So the Army has really taught me preparedness and preparing to be successful. Because one thing that we learn through life is that success, or at least I should say consistent success, does not happen by accident. You can accidentally fall into success on some tasks. You can accidentally fall into some good things that happen. It's like, oh man, this is great. However, if you're not planning to be successful, that success that you experience is not going to be consistent. So if you really want to have that successful life, then you have to plan for it. It works like that in the Army. It works like that outside of the Army. So again, having that, the determination, being able to work, within the team, understanding the importance of good leadership, as well as being on time. In fact, being early and preparing for success are probably, I would say, the 5 biggest things that I've learned from the Army, that I take into my everyday life. I try my best to emulate those things in my everyday life. Obviously, physical fitness, that's a big thing because, as a soldier, you have to be physically fit. Now, during this last year, I'm not gonna lie, it's been very challenging. For a lot of this last year, the gyms were closed, so you're kind of trying to work out from home. And now, even though the gyms have been open recently, for me personally, I haven't ventured back into the gyms just because I wasn't really confident that people in the gym were doing what they needed to do, again, to keep us safe. So, keep a mask on. I've actually seen some people in the gyms with the mask off doing stuff. I stopped going to the barbershop. I started cutting my hair because the barbershop that I was attending, they stopped wearing the gloves and they stopped wearing masks. So I was like, I can't go back to you until either I'm vaccinated or until you guys kind of go back to doing what it is that you were doing. So that's important as a soldier. That physical fitness piece is very important. And so in doing that, you want to make sure you have your own physical fitness regime. So whether it's, every day doing some push-ups, some sit-ups, going for a run. So this week I'll be starting back, consistently running again. So I'll be running about 4 times a week. I have a PT test coming up in about 2 months. So I got to get my body ready for that. But those things are attributes that I think that any soldier going through the Army can say they've brought into their lives. They have learned to be determined, not to be held back, not to allow challenges to scare you. They have learned to work with individuals that maybe we wouldn't have worked with before. To that end, there are people, when you're in the Army, you are teamed up with people who have completely different ideologies than you have. They're from completely different cultures than you're from. They have totally different political leanings than you have. They have completely different religious beliefs than you have. There is an amalgamation of thoughts, right, in the Army, and in the military in general. And in regular life, you're able to kind of segregate yourself to individuals who are like-minded. In fact, a lot of times that's what people seek out, and you're encouraged to seek that out in the rest of the world. You're encouraged to seek out like-minded individuals and to connect with those individuals. Well, in the military, in the Army, that's just impossible. You're going to be, teamed up with people who don't think like you, who see things completely opposite than you do. And you still have to be successful. You still have to get the task done. So the military really teaches that you don't have to agree in order to be successful. You don't have to agree completely in order to get along, really. You just have to understand that, I may have some different thoughts on some things, but that doesn't necessarily make me or you a bad person, nor should that keep me and you from achieving this goal. So again, the Army's taught me to be a good teammate, to work with others. The Army has really taught me how to the importance of leadership. Again, make sure that if really making sure that if I'm in a leadership role, that I'm doing the very best that I can for those individuals that I'm serving as a leader. It's taught me great time management and the importance of getting places on time. And if possible, a little early, because you have to be in the Army. You have to be somewhere 15 minutes prior. So always 15 minutes prior to the hit time. it's taught me about the importance of being prepared, not just showing up and hoping that things work, but really planning for things to work. um, and and I think, and those are I think those are things that anyone can benefit from. I think those are ideals and attributes that everybody can benefit from. So I'm going to conclude this because I have to get ready to get to bed because I got to go to work early in the morning. So again, hopefully you guys have a wonderful week. Hopefully I'll see you guys next Sunday, 7:30. And God bless. Take care.